Welcome back, Advice Pod. Kyle, Raysean singing a song, and our buddy Patrick's back again. We are going to be talking about Reddit for grown-ups. That's a Reddit I recently discovered existed, and I was like, that's interesting. I guess I'm technically a grown-up. Maybe I should start diving into some of this bullshit, but it's mostly just normal Reddit shit. Let's see. Knowledge of artists and influencers is narrowing my circle. I can't even make a comprehensive list of people who turned out to be assholes. Eric Clapton, Roger Waters, Kanye West, Louis C.K. The other day, I'm watching a fitness influencer, and he and his guests are talking about how unfair everyone is to the rapist and insurrectionist DJT and how great Andrew Tate is. It's not that I expect artists or influencers to be saints or agree with me. It's more that, like, why do they have to hate on entire races of people and support violent rhetoric against groups and races of people? I mean, I know the answer is because they're human. It's just that I haven't played any Clapton or Pink Floyd since learning about this stuff. I'm not wondering if I'm right or wrong, since this is all just a personal way of navigating in the world. I guess I wonder if I'm just alone on this one. This is something that I have routinely struggled with over the course of, I don't know, the last 10 to 15 years as people become increasingly more online, not only just us, but celebrities. We learn a heck of a lot more about them, and a lot of celebrities, turns out, fucking stupid. Also, shitty fucking views. Do you guys have anybody that comes to mind? If not, I'll start. I got mine queued up.
Mine, the commentator mentioned it, is Louis C.K.
Yes.
He's somebody who, I mean, fucking funniest person. I like, he would have been my favorite comedian 10 years ago. And the comedy that he recorded it's still funny, right? Like there's still like things in it that I can't help but laugh during, but I like it much less because of how shitty he is. I enjoy it less because of how shitty he is. There's jokes that he makes that when you change it contextually, you know, when you put it under the lens of like, oh, this person has actually made people feel uncomfortable. He's actually, you know, sexually harassed people. And the jokes just don't hit the same way.
Is it harassed or is it assaulted? I don't know what the claim is when you jerk off in front of somebody.
Yeah. And it's where I don't want to have to be processing that when I'm trying to listen to comedy. Because that's the thing. It's like that's where my mind goes with Louis C.K. I'm like, oh, like what degree of like fucking awful is he, instead of just being able to enjoy his comedy?
Bro, you just hit the nail on the fucking head. And tying it back to one of the things that the poster shared, they haven't put on any Pink Floyd since learning that Roger Waters is a fucking piece of shit. Because I don't blame him. Can you imagine having to go back and listen into like The Wall and now having to process The Wall in this new kind of contextual way, knowing that Roger Waters is a big ass piece of shit? And it's like all these songs that meant this one thing to me before, I now have to reanalyze. In reality, what it is that Roger Waters back in the day was probably way more liberal and like open-minded to things than he cares to admit nowadays. And he's now since become a very old, fucking stupid old man. That's probably really more realistically what it is. The Roger Waters of 50 fucking years ago probably would not align with the Roger Waters of today. But it is exhausting to have to like constantly like recontextualize things, art that you previously loved and enjoyed, through a new scope of like, oh wait, but this person's kind of a lying piece of shit sometimes. Like, it's exhausting.
Especially with like group art, like music, movies, TV shows, where, you know, Kevin Spacey, obviously a piece of shit. American Beauty, great movie, and a lot of great people in that movie who aren't pieces of shit. And it's like, well, I don't want to like never rent a Kevin Spacey thing again, but then it does make it less enjoyable. It's a world that I was admittedly just very oblivious to 15 years ago. I think you nailed it when you said we as people have more access to internet. We learn more about people quickly, and people have an easier time exposing their negative elements. And it does create this. It's not about cancel culture. It's not about like shutting people out for not being perfect, but it is a reality that enjoyment goes down when you know that somebody's a piece of fucking shit.
You know, speaking of Kevin Spacey, only because I just saw this yesterday, one of my friends, shout out Lenny Schwarz. I say friend, I'm just like social media acquaintances with him, but he seems like a real swell dude. He's written multiple plays, screenplays, things like that. He's very involved in like the entertainment space. Huge nerd. I have friends in common with him in real life. I don't know, whatever. We're just Facebook friends, is my point. But he just posted yesterday because he will regularly go around to different conventions. Um, he he did San Diego Comic Con like multiple times because he's written different plays about Bill Finger, the creator of Batman. He's somebody notable in the convention space, is my point. So he had to go to a convention, and I guess he's not going to go now because who the fuck are they hosting at this convention? Kevin fucking Spacey. Kevin Spacey used to be like one of the greatest working American actors 20, 25 fucking years ago. Then he did a bunch of weird, gay, creepy shit and literally had some people murdered so they couldn't testify about them. Somehow the man still walks free. He's fallen so fucking far, though, that he's now doing the same level of conventions that like D-list voice actors for the most obscure cartoons in the world will be doing. Like that's where Kevin Spacey is now. And there was a big outcry about it, I guess. And the convention owner, runner, whatever you want to call them, has chosen to keep Kevin Spacey, and they're going to lose a bunch of business about it. Because again, even though it's cool to see Kevin Spacey, the dude from fucking House of Cards and like a million other great movies throughout the years, now knowing what you have to know about him, it's going to recontextualize your entire piece of that convention experience. Even if you don't go meet him, just walking by Kevin Spacey's table, you're going to have that long, complicated thought process about like, man, yeah, he does look kind of creepy. Oh, wow, he looks different than when the last time I saw him in public. Well, it has been several years, like whatever the heck it is. Fucking exhausting. Ray, who is somebody that you used to love who now exhausts the shit out of you because they suck?
Okay. This is actually, I don't know if this is
Is it?
controversial, what I'm about to say.
I'm very curious to hear.
I'm able to see the work from the person.
You can separate the art from the artist.
Most times, unless they've done something like super, super crazy. But it's like, I've been sitting here trying to think of a person that I've just been like, no, I can never just watch their stuff. And to
Bro,
me, I've just never been to that point. To
Bill
me, because
Cosby?
I could still watch Bill Cosby stuff.
Can you? I can't. It and I grew up literally watching some Bill Cosby, or I had them on cassette tape. Shout out Pops for having that shit on cassette tapes. Bill Cosby himself, I used to listen to that shit on repeat. I can't even imagine trying to go back to listen to the fucking chocolate cake for breakfast bit right now without thinking about how Bill Cosby got away with raping like hundreds of women and walks on a technicality. Like I just can't. I can't do it.
I feel you on that. I mean, if that's like something that your mind jumps to when you hear his like jokes and stuff. But to me, it's always like, I've like, if something is funny to me, I'm gonna laugh no matter what it's about. I've heard jokes about my own race of people, about all types of different races of people that probably would hit sour to those people. But to me, I think the joke is funny. So I'm like, it doesn't like necessarily means like, I don't know. It's just hard for me to be like, oh, because they have views different from mine's that I have to hate them. You know what I mean? It's like,
you are a very comedically minded person, though. Think about somebody who's not a comedian. I don't know if we have any reference. I mean,
see, maybe that's what I think. That's what it is. It's hard for me to like see things like, long as something is funny to me. But I mean, only thing I can see where someone did that I personally just like hated that person would have to be it was a trial where this lady lied on these like black people, but like other than that,
talk about Emmett Till. What are we talking about?
It's not even Emmett Till.
Which one of the millions of fucking examples are you trying to reference?
It's a case where Donald Trump jumped into it. And he didn't have no reason. The Central Park 5, I think.
Central Park 5, yeah.
It's like, yes, it's that lady, and that actually had like a actual Twitter. Like I sent some tweets to her after watching some stuff. I was actually like,
you were enticed enough to log into fucking Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter.
I was actually kind of pissed. Like I was like, that's the only time I've ever something bothered me like that. But to me, it's like, I guess that would bother me on like, if any type of situation, but I don't know. But like saying jokes and stuff like that, and someone having a different opinion than mine, like the whole Kyrie Irving thing, like
The flat Earth trolling stuff that you're talking about, right?
the flat Earth, or even like
Yeah.
I guess him posting that link to the Jewish stuff like that. I guess maybe.
Oh, I don't think I know what that is.
That's like
ain't
his
great.
his last
sound
like
great.
controversy thing. And I guess I'll say one thing: me not being Jewish, maybe I don't understand. Like, but I didn't understand like the whole like controversy of him just posting it. That's what I thought was crazy. But
Yeah,
I
I
didn't want
honestly
to
don't even
get
know
too
like
like
what
big
that
into
is.
that because I know that could hit different from different communities and different things
Well,
like that.
Israel's committing a literal fucking genocide on Gaza right now. So I think it's actually, I mean, it's still not cool to hate anybody, but like right now is actually a kind of an opportune time to be like, why have we been protecting Israel all these years? What's up with that? I don't mean to sound anti-Semitic, but like kind of committing like all these crimes and killing people with like white phosphorus and shit like that. The world is fucking awful. But can I tell you about my pick for this?
Yeah. Who's yours?
It's my Kanye West. It's my Kanye best. Kanye West is the best because the first 3 Kanye albums are seriously still to this day 3 of my favorite albums of all time. College Dropout, Late Registration, specifically Graduation, has a lot of fucking great songs on it. There's a few, I don't want to call them duds. None of them are duds, but there's a few like less than optimal songs on there. Looking at you, Barry Bonds. I don't care if you have Lil Wayne, but the first 2 Kanye albums are literally 2 of my favorite pieces of art of all time. And I came to those pieces of music at a time in my life where like I needed help. I needed motivation. I needed something to help keep me going because it just felt very much like a me sort of thing. It's just me against the world. And a lot of Kanye's songs have that sort of theme where it's him against everybody. And I mean, he's one of the greatest producers of all time. Say what you will about how much he hates the Jews or whatever. Doesn't change that he's one of the greatest producers of all time. And he had some really fucking awesome lines, man. It sucks. I've definitely talked about this on the show before, but it does suck to see him in his current day iteration. And like we talked about with Roger Waters, like having to go back and listen to these songs that have meant so much to me for the better part of the last 2 decades. And now to be like, oh, by the way, these were all written by a fucking stupid, dumbass, anti-Semitic piece of shit. And having to reinterpret these songs that I used to fucking feel the world about through that filter of like, this person sucks ass. It is exhausting. Although I will tell you, I definitely listened through, for some reason, this isn't even one of my fucking Kanye albums. I listened to all the songs through 808 and Heartbreaks the other night. A lot of fucking good songs on that one too, man. And I don't know, man. I'd like to think that like I can do like what Raysean said, like separate the art from the artist or whatever. But I definitely, while I still appreciate the artist's art, can't entirely remove the person from it.
Yeah.
It sucks. It fucking sucks, dude. You know that phrase, never meet your heroes? I can give you a few different iterations or like examples of that story. I've met a few of my heroes that I wish I never did. If I ever meet Iron Maiden and they suck, I'll fucking kill myself.
That'd suck.
It would be awful. But I've met a few different people in my life where I'm like, wow, you've inspired me to do A, B, and C, and it turns out you're a piece of shit. The world now is just an exaggerated, less personal example or like iteration of that. You can know all of your fucking celebrities, favorite celebrities, most innermost, deepest, darkest thoughts, depending on what they choose to share. Never meet your heroes, never fucking meet your celebrities, never follow them on Twitter because they might be an asshole.
Yeah. Kanye's an interesting one because, like, for whatever reason, I think because his music quality has correlated so strongly with how fucking crazy and awful he's being, I have an easier time listening to his old music because his new music I think kind of sucks.
It's like so unhinged.
I have not liked it, and it makes me feel more like the music that was made that I was listening to when I was in high school and college, like College Dropout, like Graduation. That those albums, like it's like I've separated out early 2000s Kanye, who still had some personality, let's say. Like, it's not like he was the most stable person in the world, but I have that like separated as a different category of Kanye. And I think it's a little bit of wishful thinking. It's a little bit of projection to be like, oh, no. He's just gotten crazier over time. He didn't used to be crazy when he did this shit.
Actually, I don't mean to cut you off, but yeah. I've gone to see Kanye, I believe, 3 times live. The first time was completely unplanned, and I wasn't even that big of a Kanye fan. I knew like maybe 3 or 4 songs. And my buddy, shout out Brian Mellors, my buddy hit me up one day. He's like, hey, my friend just bailed on a Kanye concert at Foxwoods in Connecticut. What are you doing tonight? You want to go? You don't have to pay me for the ticket. Just come watch the show. I was like, fuck yeah, fuck it, man. I don't care. I was like 17, 18. And we went and I watched the show, and it was just Kanye, a DJ, and 8 hot ass fucking Asian chicks playing the violin. And it was one of the best concerts I've ever fucking been to in my life. And that's really what set it off for me. I went out and bought albums like later that week, and I was like, this dude's amazing. Flash forward, I want to say, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I go and see him again on the graduation tour. It was right after. I remember it was Kanye, Rihanna, and NERD, and I missed NERD, and we watched Rihanna. She kicked ass. Kanye's mom died a couple of months before, and I'm having a tough time remembering which song it was, but he sat down in the middle of a song, long instrumental break, which was kind of misleading about it because I thought it was part of the bit. I don't think it was part of a bit. It was a long instrumental break in a song. He sat down on the stage and fucking sobbed for 10 motherfucking minutes. 10 whole goddamn minutes. Like, at first I was like, this is kind of like he's being dramatic. He's playing into the whole, like, he just experienced a very serious personal loss thing. People are aware of it. This is part of his showmanship right now. No, dude was seriously fucking flat out bawling on stage for 10 goddamn minutes. It was one of the weirdest things. So I only point those things out to like illustrate the timeline of like how interesting his show started off when I first saw him to where it evolved to mentally, understandably, given the circumstances in his life with his mother. And how much I think that might have factored into not only like the rash fucking stupid shit he says, but like also his rash kind of production style. Like when you are doing what you do not release like version 1.0 mixes of your album and then go update them over the course of the next several months. That dude has got a lot of fucking serious mental issues. I can't believe we've talked so much about Kanye today, but I'm kind of glad we did.
A lot to talk about.
It is. It sucks. We're gonna end this fucking this thing today though. Please, man, I forgot to do it again, Ray. Make sure you like the video if you haven't liked it already. You gotta just interrupt me in the beginning of one of the videos in the first 2 minutes. Just be like, hey, God, like it, or something like that. Because you remember, I don't. Please make sure
that'd be remembering.
Oh yeah, please make sure that you say it because I forget it constantly. I'm just trying to talk like I'm not a fucking idiot. Make sure you like the video. Leave us a comment down below. What's an artist that you struggle with that you used to firmly fucking enjoy that you realize is kind of a piece of shit, and now you got to deal with that. You're like, oh, what's wrong with me? You know, I'm a piece of shit because I like this piece of shit. Piece of shit by proxy syndrome, I believe is what they call that in the medical field. But make sure you tune back in tomorrow because we're going to talk about pizza. That's all I'm going to say. Raysean?
Don't be a butt cheek. You know what's funny? I thought of one.
What?
A person that I didn't like. I just like stopped hating after I figured out what kind of person
Who do
he
you
was.
got, dude? All right. Fucking bonus segment. Let's go.
Steven Segal.
Oh.
I didn't have a problem watching his movies until I figured out the type of person he was and how much ass talking he was doing. Like, I watched this video of him talking to Michael J. Like, he wasn't talking to Michael J. White, but he was saying you know who Michael J. White is? You know that one black guy
from Blood and
Blood and
Black
Bones?
Dynamite, and yes, I do. It's one of my favorite movies of all fucking time.
He basically said that dude wasn't legit and he could beat him. I was like, what?
Michael J. White would fucking kill Steven Seagal. Did I ever tell you about the time I met him, Ray?
You met Steven Seagal?
No. I met Michael J. White.
Oh, you always mean Why you always being like the most?
I go to conventions, dog. I
black
see celebrity.
heroes.
All right,
Because you met him, and then you met the one dude from the Smokey guy. I can't think of his name.
Smokey. You talking about Afro Man?
Afro Man.
I did meet Afro Man, and I did meet not Steven Segal.
That's
I
like
did meet
two black classics right there.
All right, but can I tell Afro Man way nice to be the Michael J. White? Can I tell you the Michael J. White story and we'll end it? You're gonna have to say the butt cheek thing again. I might cut it. Who knows? Michael J. White. I know him as Black Dynamite. Black Dynamite is one of the greatest, fucking funniest comedies of all time. It's one of my favorite movies. Me and my friends, some of my friends, just quote Black Dynamite lines at each other sometimes. It's one of the greatest. He was also the guy in the suit for Spawn, right? So Spawn is probably his most successful movie that people know him from. But he's been in a million things. People mostly know him from Spawn. Yeah. He did so the people who do Rhode Island Comic Con, they one year, a few years ago, they might even still do it. I'm not sure. They decided to do a terror con in the summertime. So it was just all horror movie celebrities and people who were into that sort of thing. And it was supposed to be like a thing like in the summer to kind of break it up. Now they're doing the anime cons instead of horror cons. I guess horror cons weren't super popular. But the year that me and Feds went, we went because Michael J. White was going to be there. We don't like Michael J. White because of Spawn. We like him because of fucking Black Dynamite. Duh. So we go, and this con was super underorganized. We're standing in a line for Linda Blair from The Exorcist. The Exorcist? Is that where Linda Blair's from? Patrick, do you know? I'm pretty sure it's Linda Blair from The Exorcist. We're standing.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out what scary movie Michael J. White was in.
He was in Spawn. That's considered like a kind of horror movie, I guess. That's why he was at this convention.
Okay.
So we walk into the arena where it's like 5 tables. It's Linda Blair. 2 of the tables are empty because it's a Friday and the Saturday guests are going to sit there, right? The 4th table is Michael J. White. 5th table, there's nobody. So it's just Linda Blair and Michael J. White. Literally every single fucking person in line is in line for Linda Blair, not me and Feds. We wait in this line for probably close to 40 minutes. Finally, somebody at the front of the line, they do not go to meet Linda Blair. They walk all the way down and go to Michael J. White. So the dude's like, oh, okay, you're going to see him? All right, next person, come see Linda Blair. I'm drinking, obviously. I get out of line. I go to the front of the line to the security guard and I say, hey, man, I don't give a shit about Linda Blair. I'm trying to meet Black Dynamite. Can I just go down there? Like, could we make like a separate line for him? You know, what do we do? Oh, you got to wait. I'm like, but there's literally nobody there. He's sitting there by himself, not talking to anybody. You can just send me down there right now. I eventually talked this dude into letting him we caught like so many people, and he sends us down to Michael J. White's fucking table, right? And I have a comic book, which I still have right over there on my wall. Hold on 1 second. Just because.
Oh, is it going to say fuck you?
I want you to know that I still have it. It's actually very important to the story that you know that I still have it. So I walk down. Feds gives him his DVD copy of Black Dynamite and has him sign it. I give him my Black Dynamite #1 that I personally heard was going to be released on the internet. I physically went to a comic book store, started a pull folder, and said, hey, when this comes out, please put this aside for me. Okay. And I collected the entire fucking miniseries. But I had him sign Black Dynamite #1. And he looks at me and Feds the whole time, dude. He's just like, why the fuck are these 2 big ass white dudes totally into Black Dynamite right now? This is weird as fuck. And I think he got the vibe that we were autograph chasers and we were going to sell shit online. So I put the comic on the thing and I'm like, what up, BD? I called him BD. He did not like being called BD. Should have called him Michael J. White. All right. So I already fucked up. I put it on the table. I slide it across to him and I'm like, hey, what's up, BD? Yeah, we love you, man. It's great to meet you. Like, it's nuts that you're here. So I slide the second thing across to him and he signs it and he's like, oh, yeah, I saw one of these go on eBay a few weeks ago for like $400. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm just going to put it on a frame and hang it on my wall, but good to know it could be worth $400. And he looked at me like I was lying. And like I just made that up.
Well, you know, he probably used to that.
This thing has hung on my wall ever fucking since. Michael J. White, okay? I just want Michael J. White to know that I still have this and I did not sell it on eBay for $400. I did all that. You disrespected me. Not that like I'm going to be upset about it. What's he going to do? Karate kick my fucking head off? Probably. Actually, I won't talk shit. Never mind, Michael J. White. It's all good. Don't be a butt cheek. I'll see you tomorrow. Vice. I still have it on my wall to this day. We probably did that shit in like 2016.
That's amazing.
Probably even earlier than that, honestly. Like probably.
That's probably worth more. That's probably worth a little bit more now.